Alright, reviewing the Asus ROG Strix XG27UCG. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's talk about it. Firstly, this is a 27-inch screen size with a resolution of either 4K at 160Hz or 1080p at 320Hz by using resolution halving. That's what a lot of companies are calling dual resolution or dual mode, and it is very, very cool. It's great. The panel type here is an IPS panel, and this does have a matte finish, and in terms of the intensity of that matte finish, it's pretty much just average. For ports, this has one DisplayPort 1.4, one HDMI 2.1, one USB Type-C with the ability to use it as a DisplayPort, and it has a 3.5mm audio out. One note with the USB Type-C here is that it only has 15 watts of charging with it, and interesting that it's only one HDMI. Typically that's two, but I guess you have the USB Type-C. For variable refresh rate, this has FreeSync Premium and works well with G-Sync, and this is able to be on, variable refresh rate is able to be on with HDR, which is great. Also, NVIDIA immediately recognized this, so I think this is an NVIDIA certified G-Sync compatible variant of FreeSync, which is really good. Now, for consoles variable refresh rate for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, it's fully compatible, and it works even in HDR at the same time, which is great. Now, for full console compatibility with the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, it is fully compatible at 4K 120Hz with HDR and variable refresh rate and ALLM at the same time. This is an excellent monitor to have a PC and an Xbox or a PS5, an excellent monitor for that. It's at a really good price point. Plus, if you have a PC, you're able to take advantage of that 360Hz, but then not waste anything. Because really with this price point, you're not really paying anything more to have the dual resolution. You just get it basically without really even having to pay for it. It's really, really great. With that, let's get into the meat and potatoes, brightness and HDR. Brightness is enormous here, hitting 445 nits after testing. That is in SDR and that is full screen brightness. Now, when turning on the setting, dynamic dimming, it actually brought up the overall screen brightness up to a whopping 593 nits. Now, keep in mind, this didn't hit that in game because the colors, it's really mainly with white screens that it's gonna hit that. So it's kind of just too bright. It's blindingly bright, but it is a note. I really wouldn't turn it on. 445 nits is more than enough in most cases. However, let's say you do want more brightness overall, well, switch it into HDR. The overall screen brightness here gets substantially brighter along with the highlights as well. This tested in with the HDR full screen brightness at 556 nits, which is, again, enormous. Now, colors in HDR are definitely undersaturated out of the box. However, after using the Windows HDR calibration tool, this thing looked awesome. Colors looked fantastic, not just due to the wider color gamut and better saturation, but also the extremely bright backlight that makes those colors even more vibrant. Now, even though this doesn't have super deep blacks to make it a true HDR experience, HDR on this monitor is something that I definitely really enjoyed using and something that I consistently used during the testing of this when gaming especially. It made it overall brighter, the colors looked great, you're getting a wide color gamut. That's the reason you're gonna be using HDR here, and I think a lot of you guys will use it. One more note is if you're wondering, what is the Windows HDR calibration tool? It's a 45-second free tool that you get with Windows 11. You do not need any testing equipment, and it's absolutely a must that you should download. It's free, it's by Microsoft themselves, and it takes about 45 seconds to kind of just calibrate your monitor for HDR. Really great tool. With that, let's talk colors. Coverage here is great, covering 95% of the DCI-P3 color gamut. Accuracy out of the box was good, white balance was pretty much perfect, and saturation was bang on. The most color accurate mode overall was sRGB, and in this mode, you can actually still turn the brightness all the way up, so this is what I preferred most of the time, even when gaming, just because it's the most color accurate, and you're not really losing anything because you can turn that brightness all the way up. Many monitor companies won't let you turn the brightness all the way up in the sRGB mode, but this one you can, so that's what I would recommend. For contrast ratio, obviously this is just 1001, it's an IPS panel, and as far as backlight bleed, there was none on this panel, so quality control here is good. But what about gaming performance? Let's talk about ghosting. Ghosting here is extremely minimal. It's basically crystal clear. Now, visually at this level of ghosting, you're not going to get much better than this, even if you move to an OLED, regardless of whether it's an IPS, OLED, VA, you're not going to get this kind of ghosting with a VA panel, but you hear a lot of reviewers going OLED, like look at how much better the ghosting is on an OLED. And at a scientific level, that's 100% true, but what's not taken into account is visually how our eyes process the image on these displays. The only way that you're going to get better ghosting is not with an OLED when compared to this IPS panel. It's very good, it's very crystal clear. You're going to need to use a extreme low motion blur or an ultra low motion blur mode. And this one actually has an extremely good one. So if you're looking for, you got 360 hertz when you want it, but then if you want literally the best motion clarity possible for fast-paced gaming like CSGO or even something like Call of Duty, let's talk about this one because it's quite good. It has normal ELMB, but it also has ELMB sync, which actually syncs the backlight strobing to the variable refresh rate, to the FreeSync or G-Sync. That is so cool. That means you're able to have variable refresh rate on and ultra low or extreme low motion blur here, which is something typically not found on many other monitors. Granted, the ELMB won't be as good as the ELMB when you turn variable refresh rate off, but it's still extremely sweet to have. Now, when you turn on an extreme low motion blur, it is going to decrease the brightness overall pretty substantially, but this is a fairly bright monitor, so it's still doable in a dim or dark room. You will need to be in a dim or dark room for it to be legitimate to use. The normal ELMB has 5 different motion clarity levels, which decreases the brightness at progressive levels, with level 5 being the most clarity, hitting about 104 nits. Now that's too dim unless you're in a completely dark room. But motion clarity at all of the levels is significant, and the brightness goes up as you get closer to level 1. Level 4 hits 122 nits, then 141, 159, and then 177 nits respectively. Now, yes, 177 nits and 160 is still dim, but if you're gaming in a dim or dark room, it's for sure doable, and it's incredibly good with 360 hertz plus the extreme low motion blur. This thing is awesome. The overall gameplay experience was great. Having something like this dual resolution is just a game changer, and I think it's going to continue to just make especially IPS monitors so good. You can easily use this as a console, creative like photo, video editing, content creation monitor, and then fast-paced, competitive PC gaming. This monitor is such an awesome package, and it's for a price that's really good. With that, let's talk about stand build quality. Functionally, you have all the adjustments. You have height, tilt, swivel, and full rotation going both to the left and right, and quite smoothly, might I add. However, the stand itself just looks cheap in the black colorway. However, in the white colorway, which is the XG27UCG-W, it looks downright epic in white. Like, I don't know how the color changes it so much, but in black it just looks okay. It's plasticky. In white, this thing is freaking crazy. It looks so good. I'll also link both the black and white variants down below so you can check out which one you want. As for VESA compatibility, it's compatible with 100mm by 100mm VESA mounts. But with that, let's talk about the menu system and controls. It uses a joystick and 4 buttons on the right rear of the monitor. I don't love those 4 buttons as it does take some time to get used to what they do, but the joystick is very responsive and it doesn't have much of a learning curve. The menu system itself is very low resolution. It needs desperately a graphic designer to bring it into the 2025s. But what I do love is the different settings that Asus allows you to control. And for the most part, it's easy to find what you need, though they tend to use like non-standardized names for settings, which can initially be confusing as you have to kind of go through the menu system, use trial and error, and figure out what these things are. All right, but now the most important section of the video, price and value, and should you buy this? Well, this comes in at $499, and at that price, this puts it right in line with the competition, and having no real issues or bugs, it's a fantastic dual resolution monitor. Especially if you want an extreme low motion blur, this is an excellent monitor and I definitely recommend it. But again, if you want to check it out, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I'm going to link both the white and the black variants. I think I might like this a little bit more than the Alienware. The Alienware is a little bit more premium, but it's also, you know, 50, 60 bucks more expensive. And I don't think it's been going on sale. I might be wrong about that. But this one has that extreme low motion blur that I think really is a game changer for a lot of people. Let me know in the comments below if it's a game changer for you. This is Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.